Have you ever had that feeling, like you're living two different lives at the same time? Well, according to James Muller's work, most of us are. You see, there's the life that everyone sees, the one we project, and then there's the other one, the one that's quietly running the show from just beneath the surface. And this quote it gets right to the heart of it, doesn't it? It's such a simple but powerful idea. We've got our visible life, sure, but there's also this hidden inner world that, more often than not, is actually in the driver's seat. So let's break that down. On one side, you have the visible life. This is your job title, your daily habits, how capable and put together you seem to everyone else. It's your highlight reel. But then there's the life beneath, and that's where things get really interesting. We're talking hidden fears, old coping mechanisms from childhood, all the stuff that's silently shaping your choices. Okay, so first up, let's explore that hidden world. And here's the main takeaway right from the start. If we can't put a name to these deep underlying forces, we can't really do anything about them. They just keep running our lives on autopilot. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. We build our entire lives on top of a foundation of beliefs and rules that most of us can't even see. It's kind of like living in a house your whole life without ever once looking at the blueprint. Now, this is where it gets really personal. We're going to start questioning something that we all just assume is a fixed thing, our personality. Is it really who we are at our core, or is it a clever suit of armor we built a long, long time ago to keep ourselves safe? This right here, this idea can change everything. Think about it. Are you truly an independent person, or did you just learn really early on that asking for help wasn't safe? Are you genuinely easygoing? Or did you figure out that having needs created conflict you wanted to avoid? And this is how it starts, right? A kid is smart. They observe their environment. They figure out the rules of the game. And in this case, they learn, hey, if I just don't make a fuss, if I'm easy, things are a lot calmer around here. It's a brilliant survival strategy, and it works. So you fast forward a couple of decades, and what's happened? That childhood strategy has hardened into an identity. People now praise them for being so low maintenance and independent. They even see themselves that way. But deep down, it all started as protection, not necessarily their pure, authentic self. Let's look at another one, and this is a big one for a lot of us. A person discovers that when they achieve things, get the good grades, win the awards, they get this feeling of safety and value. So what do? They double down. They start chasing it. From the outside, their life looks incredible, so successful, so admirable. But what's the internal cost? Well, for them, rest can actually feel threatening. It can feel dangerous. Why? Because if your entire sense of worth is tied to what you produce, then stopping feels an awful lot like becoming worthless. The strategy has become a prison. And this is where the hope comes in. This is so crucial. Just because a pattern feels familiar, like it's always been there, doesn't mean it's who you truly are. And just because you've practiced it for 30 years, doesn't mean it's set in stone. So if these patterns aren't just our personality, what are they? Well, that brings us to this next idea, what we can call your inner architecture. It's that invisible blueprint we mentioned, the one that secretly governs how you behave. Here's the textbook definition. Think of your inner architecture as the operating system running in the background of your mind. It's the filter through which you experience everything. It's not just about what happens to you, it's about the meaning you automatically assign to what happens. And this table just lays it out so perfectly. You can have two people, two different inner architectures, experiencing the exact same event in completely different ways. Look at receives feedback. For architecture A, it's just useful data. For architecture B, it's crushing proof of their failure. The external event is neutral. The internal architecture creates the reality. Do any of these sound familiar? Rest has to be earned. It's better to just keep the peace. If I'm not useful, I lose my value. These are the kinds of unwritten, unconscious rules that make up our architecture. We live by them every single day, treating them like facts instead of what they are, just beliefs. So, how do you spot your own architecture? It's actually pretty simple. Pressure. When you're stressed, tired, or in a conflict, your true underlying structure comes out to play. When things are calm, we can be whoever we want. Under pressure, we revert back to our core programming. All right, which brings us to the final and most important part, the path to freedom. Because once you can actually see these hidden patterns and structures for what they are, you're no longer completely at their mercy. Seeing clearly is what makes choice possible.
And this is really where the work begins. The goal isn't to get rid of your adaptations. Hey, they served a real purpose. They kept you safe. The goal is simply to be able to tell the difference between them and your true essence. That little bit of space you create by seeing that difference, that's the doorway to freedom.
So how do you start? You start by shifting the questions you ask yourself. You move away from that judgmental, dead-end question, why am I like this? And you get compassionately curious. You ask, what made this pattern feel necessary back then? What fear is it helping me avoid? And, maybe the biggest one of all, what is it costing me to keep it around now? And it's so important to remember this. This whole process isn't about becoming weaker or less responsible. Not at all. It's about becoming less divided. It's about closing that gap between the person you perform for the world and the person who's actually living inside you. It's about becoming whole. So we'll end with this. A final question I want you to really sit with. What part of your identity, maybe the thing you're most known for, might actually be a brilliant strategy you developed just to survive? Because answering that question honestly, that might be the very first step to meeting the real you.